Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is John with Tommy's Top Picks, here to bring you your weekly Flesh and Blood market update. Pretty quiet week. Not too crazy or unexpected. Price volatility around this time in a hobby slash luxury item is not something that you'd expect aside from gift giving. And I don't think gift giving boxes of sealed product is something that happens too often. I could be wrong on that. Let me know if you've ever received a box of sealed product as a gift for like the holidays. Um, but I just assume that parents don't really know that people are into it or which one to buy, and they don't want to buy the wrong one, that sort of thing. It feels like the type of thing that's harder to get as a gift, but I could be wrong, like I said. I could see it with things like Pokemon, where they have like the little gift bundles. They're specifically meant to be given as gifts, but Flesh and Blood doesn't have a product like that, so I don't really see it happening here. But again, could be wrong. Let me know what you guys think in the comments if that's something that doesn't happen. Point being that I am suspecting that we are at a quiet moment, specifically because people are spending their money elsewhere, holiday gifts for family, friends, etc. And so not a lot of movement is happening. That said, the whole market is quieter. Whole market's going down. At least in the areas that I watch, there might be some, one or two that are going up right now. Saw some activity over in Pokemon Land. It looks like that's maybe starting to recover a little bit. Magic is flying as far as singles go. The latest sets are in a pretty good spot from an EV standpoint, so buying boxes, cracking them, selling singles does seem to work. Or at least it looks like it does mathematically, not necessarily the case. Mileage may vary depending on what you actually pull and how good you are at selling cards quickly, because the prices do decline over time, obviously. So if you don't get them sold quick enough, you're stuck holding the bags essentially. But yeah, and then Flesh and Blood obviously is having a bit of a retrace or a pullback, generally speaking, over the past few weeks or so, with a few upticks here and there, as we've talked about and seen. But overall, if you just watch the prices, we're on a slight downtrend, through time. Like here's a good example: 280 down to 263. 335 to 290. I mean, you can pick any of them, and they're pretty much all slightly down. And it's just kind of slow drift down, which again, I put that up to seasonality, and no one's buying right now. We're between sets. There's no hype on anything, except for a few heavy hitter cards that come out here and there, kind of trigger a little bit of hype, but nothing crazy. And again, people that buy these cards, they're probably putting their money towards Christmas gifts for family or holiday gifts, whatever. So anyways, that's my thought on it. Just a quick overview of the market. There's really not that much going on from our standard heat map standpoint. WTR is up. This is first edition boxes, 5.14% from 29.50 to 31.10. This one's a little fake. We've talked about this in the past, but basically this has been the same price forever, and maybe the same seller. It actually probably is. I think there's only a few boxes available on TCG Player, and no one really buys here. A lot of the sales for these sorts of things tend to go on Facebook, direct Discord. I was checking out the Purple channel the other day, seeing what prices were there for different things. I was just not Googling, searching the selling chat, the buying chat, for like Arcane First sealed, WTR, and that sort of thing, just to see what was happening. And it's much lower than TCG Players, especially when you get into these cases, which are just nonsense. That we've talked about this before, right? So I think, what was it, the box, what was the Arc box, was selling for 500 a box is what this buyer was willing to buy it for, which doesn't mean he closed. It just means he was willing to buy it for 500 and no more. So clearly this price is very off by his standards. Now, was he right? I don't know. Did he closing sales? I don't know. That data is not available to me. That's why I don't rely on that stuff as data. But it's just a touch point to see where the markets are and what's actually happening. My assumption is that as of right now, there's more sell pressure than buy pressure, for the specific reason. Say I bought Arc a while ago. Say I wanted to buy my girlfriend a really nice, necklace or something for the holidays, and you sell that off, you make that money, you can afford to buy the necklace. You see what I'm saying? So there's that psychology right now, and I suspect that's putting some downward pressure on things. We'll see where it is on the other side. I want to check in. Q1 is basically my real check-in point for this market to see where it is. If any of my predictions about continued decline next year are true, I won't really feel comfortable saying, declaring victory or failure until somewhere around March, I'll be honest, because I want to see how we push through this next cycle, the next set, all that sort of stuff. If the next set and all the data shows we're still on a macro declining market, then I think my predictions have been somewhat correct. If we start to see a turnaround in Flesh and Blood and things pick back up, it would be a different story. I would suspect that something has happened and I am incorrect in the macro assessment. So anyways, moving on to the other stuff, we do have an honorable mention. Everfest is down 4.08% to 49 from 51. Not really crazy. I think it's low for it. Is it the lowest? It's probably not the lowest. This is Everfest we're talking about here. Maybe it is. That might be the lowest list price. We saw back way back in last December, a year ago. We saw $49. See, I do think there's a seasonality to some of this. Before that, we did see it down to 42. But if you recall, in my earlier days, TCG Player, there wasn't as much plus shipping on Fab products, so I didn't have to click into everything, and I wasn't doing it. So that could have been 42 plus shipping that I didn't notice because I didn't click in. I got some people pointed that flaw out to me a couple times, and ever since then I've been basically clicking on every single product to make sure I'm capturing the shipping for the ones that throw the plus shipping. For the longest time, it wasn't necessary. No one did. Everyone did free shipping, but now it's definitely a thing that's being done. Outsiders, another honorable mention in the other direction, up 4.48% to 67 from 64. It's just returning to where it was before. Nothing crazy there. We talked about this. We're just in a band. Like, it's the same back and forth. Our band is called Outsiders. That's what we call our band. We're punk rock vampires. Definitely hit me up if you get that reference. Anyways, Dust Till Dawn. Oh man, I'm dating myself. People probably don't get that reference. It's up 7.5% to 80 from 74. That's cool. It's good that it jumped up. I'm guessing this is Angel Aris hype is causing this continual upward pressure. I like it. I think it's cool. I really do think the Angels should see some upward pressure. I like the idea of the Marvels going up. We talk about the Marvels all the time because I love Marvels. And so you know where I stand on this. I think that's fantastic, and it should be, because I don't think that was a super popular set. So anything that pushes that up is good. Also a good sign for future, Evo push up by other things that happen after the fact. You know what I mean? So I think they do a good job with this kind of tiered release. Doesn't necessarily mean the end all and be all for the set, and other things can then drive upward pressure on the set. I think it's good overall. I think, if Rudy has any information, which I don't know that he does, but he's, yelling about how there's too many in circulation. That's maybe true. I don't know. I think they want people to have the pieces. It definitely keeps the prices down, and it definitely makes it hard to make money as a shop. I know I have basically stopped all Flesh and Blood single sales because it's not worth the labor. One, because TCG Player doesn't have an app that auto scans it. I know there's this Dragon Shield one, but it's awful. And because of the color strips, blue, yellow, red, I don't think any app can identify the differences. I don't think the visual AI or whatever they call that is there yet. So what ends up happening is you have to manually put in stuff for every single card. So you're spending, instead of milliseconds of, boop, 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 scanning cards in with like Magic and Pokemon's with the foils is really hard. Actually, you have to do some manual stuff too. The Flesh and Blood cards, it just is a 0% recognition, so you have to do something manual with every single card, which means you're spending 30 seconds, per card, which that adds up when you're trying to sell a ton of stuff for pennies. Your margins are dead if you're spending that kind of money or time on it. So it tends to be not worth it. Only the hits sell and need to sell. The liquidity is not high either. While some stuff sells, imagine trying to sell I don't know, yellow pummel, right? Or, how many yellow cards are just pretty much unplayable, right? They just don't sell. So you're literally sitting on junk that will never sell, as opposed to something like Magic. Maybe a new combo happens, maybe, something is in fad, whatever. It can become sellable at a point. There are some just straight up dead flesh and blood cards that probably shouldn't exist. And I hope they address that going forward, because it's definitely a factor with a good chunk of cards, especially the commons. We don't need yellows for everything, especially when there's no breakpoint on it. You know what I mean? It's just kind of a waste of cardboard. It doesn't really lend to the game. It won't ever be played, and we know that, right? There's no imaginary scenario where suddenly yellow becomes viable if it doesn't have a breakpoint, right? I can't imagine it being the case. So I think there should be, in, I don't know, maybe Flesh and Blood 3.0, and this is just my stupid opinion. I don't know. Probably be some sort of change in the way they do that, so that even if commons have the ability to have all three colors, they don't necessarily if it doesn't make sense. I think they did that with some stuff. I can't remember what it was, but maybe it was the rares used to have the full play set, full rainbow, and now some of them don't, or something like that. I can't remember. I think they did that a little bit, and which is good, because again, who cares if it's a card no one actually wants or will ever play with? We don't need to have it in the full rainbow. Just make the blue, make the red, skip the yellow. It's fine. It's okay. There's places where it belongs, obviously, like your light warriors and stuff like that. You're gonna have yellow as a factor anytime there's a pitch yellow sort of combo going off. Absolutely makes total sense. But in a lot of cases, it doesn't, right? Like a brute yellow that doesn't have a break point. Well, brute's probably a bad point, because I think they always have break points. But the value of, proposition isn't there for a lot of cards. So anyways, I think it's something that should be addressed, because it's just a lot of wasted card and cardboard, and it doesn't sell. And when you buy bulk, you basically get screwed, because it's all that. It's all the cards that are absolutely unplayable. So buying bulk is a terrible idea, which means secondary market has all these negative pressures on singles. And if you want a healthy market, you got to have a good secondary market of singles, and that is something that prevents that. Anyways, moving on, let's talk about some stuff that was weird. I think this has been this way for a bit, but I just really noticed how prolific it was. Why is Brave Forge Bracers $1,000 for the market price? This is just a rainbow foil. What is that? I don't understand what is happening here, and why. Oh, is that supposed to be the cold foil? Is that why their list is? It's the stupid cold foil. Why is that the market price? What the hell? Okay, that's fine. I see. Okay, yeah, I just noticed that like it has the market price of 1,000, 1,400, 1,700. Anyways, let's go through some of this is by best selling, which I don't really trust the algorithm on this. It was just interesting. I was looking at this and I was like, wow, they're totally weird. Why are they all like that? And I guess it's been that way the whole time, and it's the cold foil price for some reason is the market price. I don't know. They should separate these out or something. I don't know. There's different ways to do this. You can have the foiling, not a filter, and have it as a separate listing. Which might be better for things like this, but I guess they don't care about that stuff so much. Command and Conquer's holding up. Crown of Providence still holding up. Phantasmal Footsteps seems actually down. Let me see where it is over the last year or so. Yeah, it peaked and it's come down again on the rainbow foils. It looks like you got a little bit of an uptick with the new Prism stuff happening, but the cold foil versions come down quite a bit from the top. Pretty interesting. I haven't looked at these in a long time, so I apologize if all this is old news for you. Yeah, these are $0 sale. Is that what happened? I don't believe that. And the cold foils, that would be a first edition, right? 1127, 1700. Maybe sale went through after it fell off because of lack of data. I think that's probably what happened. Yeah, so TCG player data and charts are essentially useless for Fab cards because of the way they categorize stuff here for Fab. I don't know who does that. If it's the publisher decides how the filters are set, or if it's the if it's TCG player themselves. Because for sorcery, they actually have call it Crown of Providence and then Crown of Providence foil. Now they have one foiling. They don't have all the different things that Flesh and Blood does, editions, etc. But it makes it very easy to tell what the market price is for that foil, right? Because it's only foils listed, whereas this is this weird hybrid situation. And then you have the multiple editions. It makes it even more confusing to figure out what the value of anything is. Tekla Founder card still at 75. Husk is at 80 still. It's crazy. These cards are definitely holding up, the value cards as it were. So I wanted to look through this with you. Let me know in the comments if there's anything I'm missing, key cards that aren't showing up that are the hotness. Wow, Findel Spring Tunic from Crew is down to 72. That's new. Let's see. Yeah, the rainbow foil one's just fallen off a cliff since the, I guess, a reprint. There was another reprint, right? But this is specifically the Crew one. Huh. That's wild. Which was that, in Heavy Hitters, or is that in the, no, that was in Evo, right? In the special slot? Yeah, Evo. Here we go, $69. So Crew and, interesting, Crew and Evo ones are the same. I want to look that up. Let's see. Spring Tunic. Wow, so many editions now. Crew and History Packs a little bit. I guess people like the white border. WTR Rainbow Foils 133. So just because it's rarer, that makes sense. I guess they assume that these are similar rarity, which is, I would not agree with that at all. I think Crew was pretty short printed, wasn't it? They should be worth a lot more. Weird. Well, I don't know if that's a steal or not. Clearly they're happy to reprint Tunic, and that's a good thing for players getting a hold of it, but I don't know if the Crew version should be that cheap. Oh my god, Blood of Drakai is only $26. Wow, Fables have really come down in some cases. Yeah, sorry guys, I have not kept up with the singles. So I'm just meandering here. Let me meander for a minute. Give me a break. What is this? Imperium Rapture. Oh, this is that legendary. Oh, this is the chess piece. That's right. Okay, I thought it was an angel because it's an angel picture. I was like, what angel is that? It's not an angel. Okay, Command and Conquer still holding up. Eye of Ophidia still holding up. So some things are holding up. It's... How weird. Okay, what a weird market. It's very hard to tell what's going to happen. I guess if you're deep in the meta, it's probably easier to tell what's happening with what to expect with various things. I know Staxwell recently put out one, and he's like, these are going to go bonkers. And he's probably right, because he usually is on that sort of stuff. He's very good at predicting like the meta changes with the card releases and that sort of thing. Heavy Hitters is coming out, so we'll have more Brute cards, and we haven't had the Brute reveals yet. So I think he was identifying like core Brute cards that, you know, doesn't really matter what happens. They're going to go bonkers because Brute will go bonkers. Presumably. So yeah, check out his channel. He's very good at that stuff. Arknight's down. I remember, wasn't this hitting 400 not that long ago? People were losing their mind over this thing. Let's see here. Yeah, it was 400. Okay. Interesting. Funny times. Yeah, I don't do the single stuff with Fab. It's too tricky. Maybe I should get back into it so I can understand some of these dynamics a little bit better. Let's look at the charts. We'll do WTR first and Dusk Till Dawn first. I don't think anything else is probably worth looking at. I mean, you know what? We'll go really quick through the charts. WTR first, obviously, we're seeing this kick up here. So that's what we were talking about. Arc, flatline, nothing surprising there. Crew, yeah, flatline, nothing. See, this is what I mean. Like this is noticeable. This even is noticeable if you're a data nerd like me. This is almost imperceptible and not relevant. This is basically silence because this could just be slight fluctuations. Now, if this happens for the length of this, it will be from here like that in that continual slope. We'll see a line like that, and that becomes something worth noting because it's such a long continual decline. But my guess is what's actually going to happen is we'll hit that break point, right? That point where the market just says that's way too cheap. It gets bought up, or a bunch of it gets bought up, and then the price will jump back up to like here. So we'll just sit in this like back and forth. That's what ends up happening. And as this zooms out, because what happens is as this data point, this high data point goes out, this auto scales. I can't do anything about it. It's the way Google works. it auto scales. So this will be the high point, and so this will be at the top. And so what it means is this area where it looks like it's kind of flat will become more pronounced. It will basically magnify in on it, which is fine. You can analyze charts that zoom in like that. It's totally fine. But when you look at the whole context of the history, it does look different and says a different story. So you just got it. That's why I always scroll back and look at the charts or look at the data differently. I can kind of see it in my head what it looks like. So anyways, this is, this will get expanded. It will look like it's going up and down, and then we'll see this area that will probably be a defining channel, whatever the bottom is. I don't know that this is the bottom, but whatever it is, this will be the roof. So when it pops back up, it will probably hit this 459 area, and then it will slowly drift back down to whatever the bottom is, and then back up. And it's very typical price action for something that has a constrained supply structure. Nothing unusual here. Still the drippy dips. Here's that drop down really quick we talked about before. What was the other one on the heat map that was relevant? Oh yeah, D to D. Tails. Tails is always fun. Yeah, just cruising back down to its median. Yeah, there's nothing special here. Everfest. Yeah, drifting down. Weird case action here. I don't know what that's about. Uprising. This is an interesting one. Case study in the first 2.0. So we are getting the little check mark at the bottom. I do like that. Let's see how this plays out. That might end up, if this is indicative of future 2.0 product movement, that could be a good sign for what I would used to look for Magic is when that happens. That's the time to start buying. You get your position, and then within 6 months to a year, it's basically boomed up from there because it's essentially a sign that supply has kind of hit its, supply and demand have hit the equilibrium, and now demand is starting to overtake supply. Not like drastically, but starting to. Dynasty, yeah, we're still in that whole volatility phase on the drift down. Outsiders, same thing. Looks like it went a little faster. Yeah, I think each set we learned a little bit quicker. Now this is interesting. Okay, Dusk Till Dawn. And this is all based on the hype. See, that's what throws these charts off. So a typical pattern, we've talked about this a million times, a check mark, right? It goes down and it starts to lift up. This had a preliminary uplift due to meta because of Prism and the new hype around Angel Aris. So we're seeing this upward drift faster. It's interesting how the market can bend based on release decisions. It's so interesting. Yeah, I really do enjoy it looking at these charts. I don't know if it's obvious, but it is a fascinating study to look at how this supply and demand plays out. Anyways, I apologize there wasn't much content, but the markets are quiet. I hope you guys have a fantastic holiday. I will continue to make videos over the holidays because I do it on Wednesday and release on Thursday, so it's easy enough. And I'm not going away this holiday for any great period of time, so I will be around to do that. Until next time, I hope you guys are out there cracking packs, playing games, spending some time with some family, friends, etc., loved ones. Play some cards with them, talk about your games, whatever. I hope you're out there having a good time. And I hope you all have a good holiday, and you'll hear from me before the new year, so I'll wish you Happy New Year when we're closer. Until next time, have a good one.